Stories that let me live. I once told 1,000 tales, in hope that the king will not kill me. The story goes and comes as it pleases, like waves on an ocean. In the city of Corinth, there once lived a wonderful musician whose name was Arian. No other person could play on the lyre or sing so sweetly as he, and the songs which he composed were famous in many lands. The king of Corinth was his friend. The people of Corinth never grew tired of praising his sweet music. At last, having become quite rich, he decided to go home. There was a ship just ready to sail for Corinth, and the captain agreed to take him as a passenger. The sea was rough. The ship was driven far out of course. Many days passed before they came in sight of land. The sailors were rude and unruly. The captain himself had been a robber. The captain said, "The easiest way is to throw him overboard. Then there will be no one to tell tales." Adrian spoke, "You may take everything that I have if you will only spare my life." The crew voiced out, "But we have made up our minds to get rid of you. We fear you might report the matter to the king. Your life we will not spare, but we will give you the choice of two things. You must either jump overboard into the sea or be slain with your own sword. Which shall it be?" Ariel finally made his decision. "I shall jump overboard, but I pray that you will first grant me a favor." The captain asked, "What is it?" Ariel said, "Allow me to sing to you my latest and best song. I promise that as soon as it is finished, I will leap into the sea." The sailors agreed, for they were anxious to hear the musician, whose songs were famous all over the world. Aaron dressed himself in his finest clothing. He took his stand on the forward deck, while the robber sailors stood in a half circle before him, anxious to listen to his song. He touched his lyre and began to play the accompaniment. Then he sang a wonderful song, so sweet, so lively, so touching that many of the sailors were moved to tears. And now they would have spared him, but he was true to his promise. As soon as the song was finished, he threw himself headlong into the sea. The sailors divided his money among themselves, and the ship sailed on. In a short time they reached Corinth in safety, and the king sent an officer to bring the captain and his men to the palace. The king spoke, "Captain and crew, are you from Italy?" The captain replied, "We are." The king asked again, "What news can you give me concerning my friend Arian, the sweetest of all musicians?" The captain replied with saying, "He was so happy when we left Italy. He had a mind to spend the rest of his life in that country." Hardly had they spoken these words when the door opened, and Aaron himself stood before them. He was dressed just as they had seen him when he jumped into the sea. They were so astonished that they fell upon their knees before the king and confessed their crime. Now, how was Aaron safe from drowning when he leaped overboard? Old storytellers say that he alighted on the back of a large fish, called a dolphin, which had been charmed by his music and was swimming near the ship. So, how did this story save me, you ask? How did Aaron really avoid drowning? In thousands of tales, there must be different endings, yet famously known by everyone. Storytellers believe Aaron was descended down from heaven to give his never-be-heard beautiful voice to change the human's heart. Aaron was never drowned. In fact, he was in the ship after he jumped overboard. Only he knew what happened to himself. Those times I spent with my own written poems in the underground dungeon somehow moved my king's cruel heart, sparing my life to see the daylight again. Such exquisite and prepossessing words of mine liquidated the flaming hatred fire in his inner body. Every person that is sentenced to death by their own ruler did commit an in-death crime in the king's eyes. Why was I sentenced to death in the first place? It was because I refused to marry the king's princess in order to let her be with the man she loves dearly. I didn't even mind having my hat off. Thank you.